La La Land, directed by Damien Chazelle, is a musical about dreams and sacrifice, told through love, jazz and dance. Utilising musical references established through mise-en-scène and cinematography, the feeling of nostalgia is encouraged through appealing to the cultural self, and when paired with the context of the release date, it can create oppositional readings, including the hateful spread of a conservative ideology. Captain Fantastic, directed by Matt Ross, is a comedy drama about parenting, while simultaneously commenting on leftist ideology, including critiques of the class system, religion, and the current school system. Ross utilises costume, props, and camera movements to encourage active spectatorship as they interact with the references, causing an ideological impact. In this video essay, it will be argued that mise-en-scène and cinematography are the primary tools in the two films to represent certain ideologies, especially commentary on capitalism, conservatism, and feminism, whether purposeful or not, which leaves an ideological impact on the spectator. Captain Fantastic is an overtly political and ideological film. It has the privilege of not having to appeal to a mainstream audience, meaning it can afford to be more adverse or controversial when it comes to presenting political ideologies, at least according to American standards. With many references and criticisms of religion, the school system, and the capitalist lifestyle, etc., it could be interpreted in a number of ways and may be considered offensive depending on the spectator. The film, to a large extent, caters to a certain left-leaning, politically active demographic, and so there are many opportunities to appeal to both the cultural and social self, and the main way Captain Fantastic achieves this is through costume. This is especially apparent when Ben chooses to give custody of the kids over to Jack.
So?
There is a noticeable lack of close-ups, excusing this one, despite it being an emotional scene, and this is likely to keep the Jesse Jackson shot in frame. It is supposed to catch our attention and encourage active spectatorship, as we are encouraged to engage in the political reference. Jesse Jackson was a socialist candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination in the 80s. This cultural and political reference falls in line with similar political references throughout the film, conveyed through repeated dialogue such as "power to the people" and "stick it to the man," both common phrases associated with socialism. This use of costume is then not only used to appeal to the cultural and social self, as those who understand it can react to it and associate Ben with those beliefs, but it also serves a narrative function. At this point in the film, it becomes clear that Ben has abandoned the lifestyle he has used to raise his kids, and is willing to admit it was a mistake, but his core ideological political beliefs remain. It's just how he acts upon them that changes, and this is reflected through the end of the film, where they adopt a different, less restrictive lifestyle. This is not the only use of costume to ideologically appeal to the spectator. At the end of the film, when Ben and the kids walk by through the airport, Ben can be seen wearing a shirt that refers to the Treaty of 1855, where the Nez Perce tribe were constricted to a certain area of land, and the tribe itself was known for fighting against American expansionism. This shows Ben's open criticism of his country's history, which perhaps combats the common politics of the year the film was released in, with its conservative tones of nostalgia and revisiting a, quote, better past. None of these examples are explicitly mentioned by any of the characters, nor do they play a large role in the film itself, but it demonstrates the demographic they were aiming to appeal to, as well as the ideology Ross was perpetuating. Costume is not the only method of communicating ideology to the spectator. Captain Fantastic also utilises props, such as mirrors and signed back notes, and specific camera movements to demonstrate their positions towards society, and how they, in turn, expect them to act.
We can't go to Mommy's funeral. We have to do what we're told. Some fights, you can't win. The powerful control the lives of the powerless. That's the way the world works. It's unjust and it's unfair. But that's just too damn bad. We have to shut up and accept it. Well, fuck that.
This scene not only effectively portrays a valid criticism of the class system with the line, "The powerful control the powerless," but it also communicates what society expects of the Cash family and, by extension, how the spectator may view them, and then how they actually are. This is achieved through the use of a mirror, as it often symbolises change, or, literally speaking, a reflection of oneself, and the dolly out and tilt down that reveals what Ben actually thinks. It demonstrates a retaliation to power and is an example of their nonconformity, which is further reinforced by the props next to the mirror. The dollar bill is signed, which to many is frowned upon as it is considered to be defacing money and can render the bill unfit to be reissued. Next to the dollar bill is a picture of a baby, presumably one of the children. This could be interpreted as their anti-capitalist ideology, prioritising family over material wealth. Effectively communicating their views, it encourages active spectatorship to engage in the props and their meanings. La La Land is a commentary on sacrifice and success, told through the guise of song, dance, and a doomed romance. As a homage to the golden age of Hollywood, it encourages a feeling of nostalgia through cultural references to various musicals, appealing to the cultural self. For example, created through props such as a lamppost, there are references to Singing in the Rain. Also utilising costume and shot sizes, there are multiple references to West Side Story, Grease, and Sweet Charity. Set design also plays a key role in making references in the final montage, as seen here. More generally speaking, themes of nostalgia permeate through Sebastian, a white man, and his desire to return to pure jazz, condemning modern jazz, portrayed through Keith, a black man. This becomes problematic when considering their race, as jazz was created by black people and they were persecuted in LA for it. So for Sebastian, as a white man, to claim he wants to return to pure jazz feels potentially offensive, especially since there is already little representation in the film itself. Chazelle claims the film is apolitical, but, unfortunately for him, spectators often adopt oppositional readings and find unintentional meanings. The musical references, the obsession with pure jazz, and the themes of nostalgia are not inherently problematic, but when paired with the political context of the year the film was released, the repeated desire to return to the past becomes synonymous with the Trump campaign that capitalised upon similar emotions, suggesting a conservative ideology. Therefore, it's understandable that some spectators may consider the musical references and Seb's obsession of purifying jazz as a white man ideologically troubling. Beyond politics, there are also feminist readings of the film through Mia. Through the use of cinematography, we are often aligned with Mia and her reactions. For example, when she goes to see Sebastian play at the Messengers concert, we see things from her perspective. There is a spotlight on her to demonstrate this and make her and her interactions with Seb the sole focus of the scene, and this remains true for the majority of the film. Ideologically speaking, this can be both positive and negative in terms of feminist thought. On the one hand, Mia always seems to be reacting to Seb. He misses her play while she goes out of her way to see him perform. On the other hand, others interpret Mia as an observer who materialises her ambitions, and in that sense the film is solely about her developing herself as an artist. Throughout the film, she is seen performing and writing without Seb, and by the end of the film, she becomes more financially successful. Depending on the spectator's read on the film, Mia's passive observations can be transformed into something much more active. In conclusion, La La Land and Captain Fantastic can both certainly be interpreted ideologically, especially politically, whether intentional or not. Mise-en-scène and cinematography are what comprise the visuals of a film. So in La La Land, despite the claims it is apolitical, it is natural that a multitude of spectators would use these elements of film form to engage in a negotiated or oppositional reading, such as conservative tones of nostalgia, which when paired with Serb and Kiev's ethnicity can be viewed as a problematic white saviour moment, thus creating an ideological impact on the spectator. In Captain Fantastic, as such a blatant, ideological film, it's safe to assume that all references are purposeful. Ross repeatedly appeals to the cultural self and encourages active spectatorship through costume, props, and cinematography, creating anti-capitalist messaging and encouraging a nonconformist lifestyle through his positive portrayal of it, once more ideologically impacting the spectator.